in God without envy.
Amen.
Like I told you, kids, like I told you, I've been in church all my life. All my life I have been in church. I don't know anything other than church, what to do on Sunday mornings. Ever since I was in Haiti with my parents, my mother and my father, they have raised me up in church. These are folk, it's a completely different type of environment to come from a third world country and go into the United States because of the fact that the USA is a free country, but at the same time in a third world country, my parents used to wake me up at 4 in the morning. My father at that time, he had a Volkswagen. He'd drive me on into the city. We'd park the Volkswagen and walk on into church. Be in church from 9 o'clock in the morning till God knows when at night, because I definitely slept through the whole night. But at the same time, this was my norm. And when I came into the United States, it still stayed my norm. I stayed in church. I was in the we have Asbury Park here. And so the First Restoration Baptist Church is the church that we came. On Sunday mornings, we wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I would be the you know, a little bit, you know, I really don't want to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to wake up around 9:30. But even if I woke up at 9:30, if I didn't make it to Bible study, to Sunday school at 10 o'clock, I know I'd be in trouble. By that means right there. People get it. But at the same time, I'd be in Sunday school by 10 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock, service would start. By 1 o'clock, I'd have choir practice. Then after choir practice, we'd go home. So I'm going to buy the chicken or something of that sort. Come back on over to church at 5 o'clock. Have youth service from 5 to 7. Then from 7 in the evening, have Sunday evening service. This was my norm. This was Sundays for me. Every single Sunday. And nowadays, it really is not the norm anymore. Now, I know church lingo and I know everything of that sort, and it taught me a whole lot, but at the same time, I also know that the Braxton family values Real Housewives of Orange County, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Miami, John and Jake +8, Jersey Shore, Teen Moms. None of those reality shows hold up a candle to the reality show that goes on inside of a church. None of it has anything to hold up inside of the church. And that is a very sad statement to make in this time of day. Because you got zombies walking around amongst us. Zombies. We're not talking about horror movies, we're talking about true zombies. Dude is in Miami. He was at Bible study on Friday. At Bible study. There's zombies in the church. At Bible study on Friday. But by Sunday afternoon, he was eating the eyes, the nose, and the face of a man clean off. The eyes, the nose, and the face of a man clean off. Now, if you're a Christian, you know that you have zombies. We deal with zombies each and every single day. People that are over looking at your eyes and looking at your vision and trying to eat that up for you. You got people that are attacking your discerning spirit, so they eat up your senses. Then you got people that are looking at you and they don't know what to do with you, so they try to shut you up and they eat at your mouth. But at the same time, you have a God that's standing with you. But may I please say that while this is a very sad statement, it gives us insight to the reason why some people see the church and church folk as hypocrites. May I suggest to you that the reason why the church is seen in this type of light is because of the fact that churches have adopted the concept that the church is a hospital. Now let me explain that real quick. Now, I don't mean that I have a problem with hospital/church ideology. I got that part. What I have a problem with is the concept, because when I go to church or when an actual person goes to a hospital, they know they're sick. They come into the hospital with full knowledge that something's wrong with me. They sit down at the emergency table and allows the doctor to do something about what's wrong with them. But at the same time, there are folk inside the church that are acting like they're doctors. They got full doctor regalia on, but they won't allow the holy doctor to do the work that he needs to do at his table. So you have people that are supposed to be on God's operating table, opting to put on the regalia of holiness so that they can be seen in the spotlight. You got folk who belong in the psych ward working in the emergency room. All because the church as a whole has begun to concern themselves with getting their pews filled and not saving the souls within the pews. And prosperity teaching began to take over the world. It's not enough now to say to somebody, hey, live right. Holiness is still right. Wait until you get married to do what you need to do. Because guess what? Raising a kid isn't easy in these ages. So we're trying to step you away from living wrong. That's not the popular thing to do. No, now we not only say, okay, if you're not going to live right, let me give you a condom inside the church. Rather than preaching, hey, it's not the condom that's the deal. Live right. Amen. The only thing that'll save you from you, according to God, is you living right. Waiting until he does a thing in you, rather than you stepping into a thing before it's time. So now, I'm not saying prosperity teaching is wrong, but let me give it to you another way. When you go into the army, there's certain types of tests that you have to take before you actually have the privilege of calling yourself a member of the army. You have to go through certain exams. They put you through math exams and reading exams. They got to know that you know what you know. Then after that, once they're done making sure that your mind is right, they then put you through physical regalia. So they wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning, put on a 15-pound bag on your back and tell you to run until I tell you to stop. Some of us won't go through the test and want the end result first without actually going through the test first. You don't want to go through boot camp. Nah, you just want to say, hey, I'm part of the army. You can't say you're part of the army without first going through boot camp. So that's what they were saying in Deuteronomy chapter 8. He said, remember where your father and your mother came from. Remember what I had put them through. Remember the wilderness in your life. But also remember that I didn't leave the wilderness there for you. I brought you out of it. When you were hungry, I gave you manna. When you were thirsty, I gave you something to drink. But at the same time, even though you went through the wilderness, your clothes didn't come off you. That means that your coverage was still on you. I know that there's some of you up in here that are going through a wilderness period in your life right now. You think that God doesn't have you covered, but at the same time, I have come here to tell you from God that he still has his hands on you. Your clothes are still on you. While you're going through the wilderness and while you're going through the situation and while you're raising that child by yourself, guess what? There are no blisters on your feet. You can go ahead and step forward and God will aid you because your steps are still ordered by God. In spite of yourself, God says that he will keep you in all of your ways. And so, here we are. Moving forward into the next chapter. He says, hey, I know it's a hard time, but at the same time, I got this. I know the walls are looking like they're caving in, but at the same time, I got this. You don't got to worry about your next test. Who's going to come at you for you today? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Who's on first? Who's on second? You don't got to worry about none of that. I will make a way out of no way. Why? Because I did it for your parents. I did it for your mom.